Good morning, everyone. SNC Lavalin, Jody Wilson-Raybould, and the ties to the Prime Minister's office and the Privy Council are an absolute moving mess. A dumpster fire, one would say, some might say, for Justin Trudeau and his Liberals in an election year. This is something they desperately want to put out, but it just keeps rolling down the street being on fire, right? They're chasing it, and it's like, oh no, it's still going. So I find it interesting the parallels between these cases being two massive cases, the Vice Admiral Mark Norman and SNC Lavalin cases, and their ties all the way to the PMO and the Privy Office, and the comparison to the Mike Duffy scandal, Senate expenses scandal, which turned into not much of a scandal because it was not much of a big deal because it was totally legal. So here is a first-person article from the Ottawa Citizen written by Andrew McDougall. If he says I, that doesn't mean me, that means him. So I hope that's okay, everybody. Here goes the article. Why Justin Trudeau will not sacrifice his PMO come hell or SNC Lavalin. According to Trudeau, Stephen Harper's PMO, of which I was a part, was too secretive, too controlling, and too partisan. The boys in short pants, as we were known, were running amok, manhandling elected members and clubbing bureaucrats in the manner of baby seals. I paraphrase, but lightly. The apotheosis of Trudeau's outrage came in October 2013 when he tweeted, quote, retweet, to call on Stephen Harper to testify on the PMO ethics scandal under oath. As you've no doubt already guessed, Trudeau was referring to Senator Mike Duffy and all the wacky things our office did to try to extract him from the political mess of what turned out to be his perfectly legal and completely justified expense claims. Thanks, Judge. Not only did Trudeau want Harper to testify about it, he wanted every PMO staffer involved in the Duffy saga sacked, fired. Here's Justin Trudeau in 2015. We're going to listen to all 30 seconds of this because, well, I mean, just imagine he's talking about himself.
What we're learning this week is that office has been involved in creating a cover-up to hide the truth from Canadians. The fact that Canadians are finding out that we cannot believe our Prime Minister and his office, we cannot trust them to tell the truth, is a massive, massive issue. And what we're learning this week...
Sorry, couldn't have said it better myself. Really. So, back to this article. A penny for Prime Minister Trudeau's thoughts on the employment prospects of those in the current PMO. What with his office being dunked in not one, but two soups, Admiral Mark Norman's sacking for supposed leaking cabinet secrets now before the courts, and the unfolding drama surrounding SNC Lavalin, Jody Wilson-Raybould, and what the PMO did or didn't do about the former's desire to not go to jail. Courts to be determined. Both are on par and arguably worse than Duffy, and both involve a hyperactive PMO that was trying to alter the direction of travel of a sensitive file. In the case of the Trudeau PMO, finding out who leaked cabinet discussions, Norman, and leaning allegedly on the former Attorney General to get her to look the other way on SNC Lavalin. Now I go scroll down. The Norman and SNC Lavalin episodes show that what Trudeau promised to fix about the PMO during the 2015 election, making it more open, more transparent, and less controlling, remains broken. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. It's not a particularly insightful point, given that people such as Donald Savoy have been banging on about an unholy concentration of power in the PMO since Justin Trudeau was in short pants. Literally, as Savoy has been going on about it since the days of Pierre Elliott Trudeau. Savoy argues that the concentration of power in the centre is, in part, a consequence of the spread of government. Central agencies such as the Privy Council's office and Treasury Board were meant to coordinate government business across the growing panoply of post-war departments, but instead telescope power away from departments to the centre. And that telescoping has now continued to the point we have today, where the unelected and short-panted call all of the shots. And I scroll down again. Harper could change staff like crazy because he was the driving force. I'll leave it to you to figure out why Trudeau hasn't changed his political mandarins. That's why Gerald Butts or Katie Telford will not be sacrificed. No matter how Duffy-esque the Norman or SNC Lavalin episodes get, the PMO will battle through just as the previous PMO did before them. They have to. Justin Trudeau wouldn't function without them. I found that interesting and insightful and possibly true. A lot of people have been saying that Gerald Butts' head is going to roll on this one. Say, by this point in the Duffy scandal, Harper's staff, like the equivalent to the principal secretary, had resigned by this point. So it's kind of interesting to watch this prime minister who championed fixing these problems fall into traps 10 times worse, 11 times worse. Here's the Globe and Mail reporting, and this is the last story for this morning. Wilson-Raybould challenged Trudeau on SNC Lavalin. Prime Minister concedes. I want to point out here, can you imagine, I know Trudeau has pictures of this with Macron, the president of France. It's just a strange precedent to set in government. This is our government. Why is he hugging her? And why does he hug all of the ministry? It's so strange and it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. If this is decorum, we can probably get rid of this one, right? Just ick. Okay, here's the article. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau revealed Friday that former Justice Minister and Attorney General Jody Wilson-Raybould had approached him to clarify whether he was in fact ordering her to make a particular decision on the bribery and fraud prosecution of SNC Lavalin Group. He said her question in September 2018 came amid a major lobbying campaign on the matter. Obviously, there have been many discussions around this government, questions asked of me from two different Quebec premiers, questions asked of me, and representations made by the company, made by a broad range of individuals of MPs. There were many discussions going on, Mr. Trudeau said, which is why Jody Wilson-Raybould asked me if I was directing her or going to direct her to take a particular decision, and of course I said no, that it was her decision to make, and I expected her to make it. I had full confidence in her role. Mr. Trudeau's acknowledgement that Ms. Wilson-Raybould had approached him on the matter comes only 3 days after he told reporters that she had failed in her duty to raise concerns about the government's handling of the SNC prosecution. On Tuesday, he said, quote, I, to be honest, don't entirely understand why Jody Wilson-Raybould made the decision she did, because if anyone, particularly the Attorney General, felt that we were not doing our job responsibly and according to all the rules as a government, it was her responsibility to come forward to me this past fall and highlight that directly to me. So, hold on, time out, this is me now. So, what you're updating us here on this, Mr. Trudeau, is that she did do that? She did come forward in the fall and say, wait, did you mean to tell me that I have to make this decision? Oh, no, go ahead. You make whatever decision you want. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, but I might fire you if you make the wrong one. And then she got fired, right? Weird that you're confirming this. And it seems like the more he talks about it, the more he's implicitly waiving his rights. But I talk about that on another video. Okay, back to the article. Also, Friday, Mr. Trudeau told media that he only removed Ms. Wilson-Raybould from her job as Justice Minister and Attorney General because of a surprise departure from cabinet to triggered a shuffle. Yes, I heard if Scott Bryson didn't resign, that Han Solo's son wouldn't have killed him. I don't know. Spoiler alert. The Prime Minister was attempting to counter allegations from opposition critics that he demoted Ms. Wilson-Raybould to Veteran Affairs because the BC MP was unwilling to shelve the prosecution of SNC Lavalin, a Montreal-based engineering giant. In the shuffle, more than 30 members of Mr. Trudeau's cabinet were left untouched. Only 3 existing ministers were shifted to other posts. Mr. Bryson was replaced at Treasury Board by former Indigenous Services Minister Jane Philpott. She was replaced by Newfoundland MP Seamus O'Regan, who until then had served as Veteran Affairs Minister. Ms. Wilson-Raybould succeeded him at Veteran Affairs, and she was replaced as Attorney General by Montreal MP and SNC Lavalin MP. Also, it's in his riding, David Lametti, a newcomer to cabinet. This is irrelevant to the issue at hand. Deputy Conservative leader Lisa Raitt said, the facts are she was demoted and then she quit. Canadians would like to know the reason why she resigned. This is a diversion tactic by the PM to muddy the waters even further. Mr. Trudeau has faced questions for more than a week about his government's handling of the prosecution of SNC Lavalin, Canada's largest engineering and construction management company, for fraud and bribery charges stemming from an RCMP investigation into its business dealings in Libya. The Globe and Mail reported on February 7th that when the Attorney General, Ms. Wilson-Raybould, had come under pressure from the Prime Minister's office to override the decision of the Public Prosecution Services Canada and state prosecution of SNC Lavalin in favor of a deferred prosecution agreement that would avoid trial, Mr. Trudeau told reporters he did not direct her on that matter. But senior government officials later confirmed to the Globe that there was a vigorous debate. Ms. Wilson-Raybould resigned from cabinet on Monday, only hours after Mr. Trudeau told reporters that her continued presence in the cabinet was an indication that she was not happy with the government. Quote, she made her decision, and I accept her decision, even if I don't entirely understand it, Mr. Trudeau said. In summing up, he said, the PMO's main goal throughout has been to help safeguard jobs at SNC Lavalin. If the engineering firm is convicted on of fraud and bribery charges, it could face a 10-year ban from federal government contracts. And I'm going to pause right here as well. So the federal government's and the PMO's main goal is safeguarding jobs, not upholding the law? That seems weird. Right? Like, that seems really strange. The PMO, I think the PMO should be encouraging businesses to uphold the law and not encourage businesses to break the law with reckless abandon. And then when they get caught, lobby the government for, I don't know, 5 years? And to make sure that the law gets changed so that then they can get the court case kicked down the can, so the changes to the criminal code that got pushed through by the lobbied government take effect. And then get to pay a fine instead of going to jail. Whereas if a regular citizen had done it, they would go to jail. There wouldn't be any kind of 5-year wait and some laws changed. That's the main problem, Mr. Trudeau. It's a 2-tiered legal system, and you, sir, are the architect of this, and people are going to blame you. So get ready for your polls to drop even further. This is ridiculous. Okay, back to the article. On Wednesday, the governing Liberals used their voting majority on the House of Commons Justice Committee to quash the opposition efforts to name several key players as witnesses in hearings on the Wilson-Raybould controversy, including the former minister herself, as well as Mr. Trudeau's 2 most senior staff members. Liberal MPs declined to hear the opposition's proposal for the hearings and rejected all attempted amendments by the Conservatives and NDP. The opposition parties wanted to call Mr. Trudeau's principal secretary, Gerald Butts, and chief of staff, Katie Telford, among others, as witnesses. Instead, the Liberals passed a motion that would broaden the hearings away from strictly targeting accounts that the PMO put pressure on Ms. Wilson-Raybould to shelve a criminal prosecution of SNC Lavalin. This issue will now be folded into a larger study that includes an examination of the deferred prosecution option and the Shawcross Doctrine, a legal standard the Liberals have invoked in defending their conduct in the Wilson-Raybould matter. I don't actually have time right now to look into what the Shawcross Doctrine is, but I'm interested in it. And usually I would have a link telling you what it is. I apologize that I don't. I just don't have time this morning. We've got skating. So thank you for watching, everybody. This is garbage. This is absolutely, here's Justin Trudeau saying, I'm going to fix this problem. And here's Justin Trudeau saying, yeah, no, I'm going to use every single legal power to protect the people who are actually helping me run the country right now because I'm not sure how to do it. Ugh, want a hug? Terrible. So thank you for watching, everybody. Check out the People's Party of Canada.ca. You might want Maxime Bernier as Prime Minister because I certainly do. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.